Good morning to all of you. Today we will see the syllabus once again and let me tell you which topic we have covered and what is actually the status because the exams will be there in May. Okay, I hope so. Therefore, the module 1, I hope that everything we have completed and module 2 also except one last portion in module 2 sets union find operation on a disjoint set. Okay, why I have excluded that means that was actually, even though we were unable to finish the topic, this is easy for self learning sets, disjoint set operation. That's why all the difficult topics were covered. But don't worry, I will be posting the video for sets, union and find operations. And module 3 graphs, whenever you are going through that graph, you can see DFS, BFS, their traversal, complexity, definition of spanning tree, definition of minimum cost spanning tree, single source shortest path algorithms we have discussed, Dijkstra's shortest path and Bellman-Ford shortest path, then topological sorting, then strongly connected components. Then after we have learned divide and conquer. The control abstraction means the steps in divide and conquer, divide, conquer and combine. And the two-way merge sort is the merge sort discussed in the video lecture. Then Strassen's matrix multiplication also we have discussed and we have done two problems on that and the analysis. Dynamic programming, the control abstraction means the steps in dynamic programming we have seen in that video. There are mainly 4 steps. And the optimality principle, the principle of optimality is separately stated in the video lecture. The optimal substructure for dynamic programming actually leads to the optimality principle. Then optimal matrix multiplication is nothing but matrix chain multiplication. Then Bellman-Ford algorithm is Bellman-Ford shortest path algorithm. Then the analysis of that algorithm, comparison of divide and conquer, dynamic programming, this is also included in the video lecture. And greedy strategy, we have seen the steps in greedy, the elements of greedy, the fractional knapsack. And the minimal cost spanning tree computation, we had 2 algorithms, Prims and Kruskal. And Prims and Kruskal also we have seen in module 3 minimum cost spanning tree. I have included the video. And in fact, up to module 5 we have covered everything. And only the module 6 is remaining. And these two are major 3 problems: backtracking with 2 examples, NQuins and 01 knapsack, branch and bound with only 1 problem, traveling salesman's problem. Then introduction to the tractable and intractable problems, P and NP class, polynomial time reduction, the definition of NP hard and NP complete. Okay. And here in today's lecture, I will be posting backtracking, the control abstraction and NQuins problem as one video lecture. And 01 knapsack is different from the knapsack problem we have already learned in greedy. That was actually the fractional knapsack problem. Okay. And here comes, we are going to the last module with the topic backtracking. See, this word is quite interesting. Okay, backtracking means we are actually moving backward. Okay, moving backward in search of another solution. Okay, and backtracking is an important and useful algorithmic design strategy. And this is also a recursive algorithm design strategy. And a backtracking algorithm tries to build the solution to a computational problem incrementally. That is very important. At each step, it will find a partial solution and it will be building the final solution incrementally, adding one step at each time, or building the complete solution from the partial solutions. And whenever an algorithm needs to decide between multiple alternatives, okay, at a step we have multiple alternatives to the next component of the solution, then it simply tries all possible options recursively. These are actually the characteristic. And another thing, this is systematic method for searching one or more solutions for a given problem. It can effectively solve multi-decision problems where the final solution is visualized as a series of decisions. This is also an application of backtracking. The execution of a decision here or a choice will lead to another set of choices or decisions. In case of a dead end, that is why the name backtracking. In case of a dead end means you are reached a dead end where there were no opening, you cannot proceed further, then one can backtrack and try other alternatives. It is maybe something like a tree. If you are drawing, then one end will be dead end, you cannot proceed further, then another branch may lead to the final solution, you can backtrack and iterate through that branch. And in backtracking design paradigm, mainly it can solve three types of problems. One is enumeration problems, and enumeration means list. All solutions are listed for a given problem and pick the optimal one. Decision problem. Decision problems means this is a familiar one. While taking theory of automata itself, I have told you, decision problem is a kind of problem where you will be coming up with an answer yes or no. Then optimization problems, we are very much familiar. We have seen greedy and dynamic. And these three paradigms we can apply, these three areas we can apply backtracking design paradigm. And here one can visualize backtracking as an organized brute force approach. Okay, it's not brute force. Okay, brute force is it will simply, what is actually a brute force? It will simply list out all possible solution and pick the optimal one. That nobody will apply, because this brute force will lead to exponential time complexity. And this is actually an organized brute force where systematically or incrementally we are building up the final solution. Okay, don't misunderstand that backtracking is same as brute force. No, backtracking always gives you polynomial time algorithm. Brute force will give you exponential time algorithm. Okay, and a backtracking, this is very important. Once again I have written here, a backtracking algorithm solves problems incrementally by adding candidate solution, that means a partial solution, till final solution is obtained. And this is always done in polynomial time complexity. And one more thing, okay, one step you found a partial solution and that is not leading to your final solution, you can reject it along with other candidate solution, then this is called a pruning. Okay, you will go with another branch of the tree or another set of partial solutions. Thus in backtracking, this is an important point. Thus in backtracking, if a solution vector is non-promising, that means it's not giving you the final optimal answer, then further generation of the vectors from this non-promising vector is stopped. And this is not done in brute force approach. Here comes the difference. Once you find that this is a non-promising solution vector, you can always backtrack and proceed with another set of choices. And this can be, you can see it is something like a DFS. Okay, how we have done DFS? DFS we will be going in depth, then we will go back and search for its neighbors, something like that. Here also we will be using DFS and with some bounding function. Okay, what is going to be the bounding function? Bounding is nothing but limitations or constraints, and this will vary from one problem to another problem, and the bounding will be defined, bounding function will be defined specifically with respect to the problem encountered. And in general we can define, if there are n components for the solution, then the solution vector is defined like x1 x2 etc xn. And this I here generally xi, it can range from 1 to n, and this is going to represent a solution vector. And backtracking design always have the bounding function, and there are some forms of constraints. Constraints can be explicit or implicit, and this explicit constraint is something like x greater than or equal to 2. That means it can take values starting from 2. It cannot have 1 or 0, they are explicit. Then implicit constraint is you cannot move both forward and backward direction, something like when a moving pattern is described, that is going to be an implicit constraint. And these are the two important steps of a backtracking approach, or important stages. One is generation of a state space tree. And what are actually this state space trees? They are actually our partial, showing all the partial solutions. You have proceeded, you have rejected, everything will be there in this state space tree. And exploring the state space tree means using the state space tree, one can actually find the solutions. Okay. and generation of a state space tree. It is also called solution space or recursion tree, arrangement of all possible solutions in a tree like structure. Every node of the state space tree represents a partial solution that illustrate the choices made from root to that node. Okay, whenever we consider a specific example, it will be more clear. Otherwise they are simple points actually, and these are some terminologies used here in backtracking while drawing the state space tree. Answer states, live node, e node and dead node. Okay, answer states are actually the solution states for which a path from root node to s is an answer node, defines a tuple that is a member of the set of solution. They are actually part of the solution. Live node is a node that has been generated but whose children have not yet been generated. E node is a live node whose children are currently being explored. Okay, dead node, as we have already seen, it is a dead end. All children of a dead node have already been expanded, therefore no scope for the dead node. And tree search, normally we will apply BFS and DFS, and backtracking uses DFS. Depth first node generation with the bounding function is actually the backtracking. This bounding function is more important here. And here the problems specified in your syllabus is NQueens. And what is this problem actually? This is a prototypical backtracking problem. This is a classical one, NQueens problem. This was first proposed by German chess enthusiast, that is Max Basel, in 1848. The problem is quite interesting. It is to place n queens on an n by n chessboard so that no two queens can attack each other. Okay, that is actually n queens problem. Placement of queens on a chess point and the bounding function, that is the objective. And the bounding function is no two queens can attack each other. This is actually the constraint or the bounding function. This means that no two queens are in the same row, column or diagonal, and if they come like this, same row, column or diagonal, they are in attacking positions. Okay, I hope I'm clear to you. And this is actually the bounding function. Okay, this is the problem with a bounding function. That is actually the problem statement for backtracking. And obviously in any solution to the n-queens problem, there is exactly one queen in each row. One queen can be placed in each row, and if we assume that q1 to n is the possible solutions, then qi will indicate which square in row I contains a particular queen. Okay, if we are taking first row and if I have placed that queen in third column, then the first entry will be 3. Okay, like that we will have a solution vector, and there are many solutions. Okay, to find a solution we put queens on the board row by row, then we will check whether it violates the bounding function. Then this normally starts from the top. Okay, this is so. If the placement of the queen does not satisfy the bounding function, then you have to backtrack and set another set of solutions. This is actually the backtracking. And consider an example n equal to 8. Up n queens problem, then it will be called 8 queens problem, and the chessboard will be 8 cross 8. Then no two queens can attack. That means they are not on the same row, column or diagonal. And a solution vector for this 8 queen will be x1 to x8. That means first row where the queen is placed, second row where the queen is placed, something like that, where xi is the column of the ith row where the ith queen is placed. Okay, we assume that q1 is placed in first row, q2 is placed in second row, q3 is placed in third row, then xi is the column of the ith row where the ith queen is placed. And the explicit constraint using this formulation are Si equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is solution vector where I should be greater than less than or equal to 8, greater than or equal to 8. Therefore, the solution space consists of 8 raised to 8 tuples. The implicit constraint is nothing but all queens must not be in attacking position. No two queens can be on the same diagonal. This bounding function actually reduces 8 raised to 8 tuples to 8 factorial tuples. That means solution space has been reduced from 8 raised to 8 to 8 factorial. Okay, This is how the bounding function helps in backtracking to reduce the solution space. And here another terminologies are, suppose two queues are placed at position I and j, I comma j, then k comma l, then column conflict. Two queues conflict if their xi values are identical, you can see. Then diagonal conflict means two queues I and j are on the same 45-degree diagonal, same 45-degree diagonal, like crosswise, you can see. Then I minus j is equal to k minus l, you can check it. This implies you take like this, j minus l equal to I minus k. Then the other diagonal conflict will be the other one, the reverse direction, the upward one, that will be 135-degree conflict. That will be I plus j equal to k plus l. This is also we can write like this, j minus l equal to k minus I. That means the diagonal conflict means j minus l equal to k minus I is the diagonal conflict. And here we are taking only the absolute value. No two queues lie on the same diagonal if and only if j minus l equal to I minus k, where j be the column of the object in the ith row, ith queue, and let l be the column of the object in the row k for the kth queue. Okay, just try it and check the diagonal clashes. Let us take the following tile configuration. I hope you have seen that. And xi and I, and this is actually xi is equal to 2. The first queue is placed at the second column, then the second queue actually placed on the fifth, like that. This is actually the solution vector. And case whether the queues are conflicting or those, you can check case ij is equal to 3 1 if we are taking 3 1, and kl is equal to 8 6. Then you can see j minus l equal to I minus k, the absolute value, 1 minus 6 equal to 3 minus 8 5. They are on the same diagonal conflict, and here they are not, they are in the attacking position. Therefore this is not a solution. Okay, suppose we start with a feasible sequence. Assume that this is the initial sequence 7 5 3 1 for an 8 by 8. Then how we can proceed further, I will explain you how we can proceed further. Means we have to place the queue on this particular position where we will place. Okay, I will show you. This is 1 to 8 is the original one. Then the initial sequence is 7 5 3 1. Okay, 7 5 3 1 is the original sequence. Then we are trying that with, we are placing it on the second position. Here if we are placing, then you can see here j minus l equal to 1 minus 2 1, I minus k is equal to 4 minus 5 1. They are conflicting. Therefore you cannot place it in the second position, and you will try the other positions. 3 you cannot try because 3 already appeared, their same column conflict will come. Then the numbers you can try are the numbers except 7 5 3 1. That means 2 4 6 and 8 only you can try. Then you will take the next number 4, and 4 is okay, you can keep it, you can try there. Second column, fourth row. Okay, here there is no conflict, no type conflict. Therefore assume that you are placing it here. Then the next one is next row, which number? You have 7 5 3 1 4. The next is 2. We are taking 2. 2 also there is a conflict, therefore you cannot put it in 2. Then you can try for 6. 6 is also giving you a conflict, you cannot put it on 6. You can see if you are putting this on 6, there is a conflict because there is actually a diagonal conflict. I hope you are seeing it. There is a diagonal conflict, therefore you cannot put it. Therefore the next option is 8, you are putting there. The next on the 7th row, which column you can put? The remaining numbers are 2 and 6. You are trying 2. 2 is giving you a conflict. You are trying 6 also. These are the only two remaining options. Either you can put at second column or you can put at place at 6th column. These are the only two options remaining. but both are giving a conflict. Okay, for checking the conflict you have to remember the formula. Okay, and also understand how we arrived at that formula. And in this case you have filled or placed the queues at the sixth row, up to sixth row, then you are not getting a position in the seventh row. Then naturally what we have to do, you have to go back and rearrange the placement, and this is actually the backtracking. And this backtracking will give you like this 4. Okay, from here only we have seen the possibilities. The last placement was 4, then we were proceeding with the 6, 2, 6 and 8, but we were not getting any answer. Okay, the 8 is not giving you an answer, therefore this 4 has to be replaced. Then you are trying other option, 4 is not giving you a solution, therefore go with the next number 6. Okay, 6 is not giving you a conflict. Then the sixth row you will try the second column, that is a conflict. You will see the fourth is not giving you a conflict, therefore you will see 7, 5, 3, 1, 6, 4 as the one. Then seventh row you will see 2. This up to seventh row doesn't have any problem, but whenever we try only one cell is possible for the eighth column, then that is the eighth cell, but that is not giving you the correct answer. Eighth cell has a diagonal conflict with the third cell, therefore you have to backtrack. You have to backtrack 2, you have to backtrack 4. Then 4 is not an answer, you will try with 8. Then after that you will try with the second option, you will try with the 4, and you are getting the final answer as 7, 5, 3, 1, 6, 8, 2, 4. Okay, and therefore like this illustrates how we are going to backtrack it. Am I right? Okay, this is how the backtracking possibilities. If a solution, if a partial solution you are rejecting all its candidate solution, and you will backtrack to the next level, next previous level, the safe zone, and you will start exploring from there the state space, and you will see whether that will lead to a final solution. Okay, you are checking, and meanwhile ensure that you have tried all possibilities. Okay, which is going to be a dead end. Here we have seen a dead end. Okay, and the solution will look like this. The final solution on a chessboard will look like this, and this is in the 8 queens problem. You can see the possible arrangement without any attacking position, and the solution array is 4, 7, 3, 8, 2, 5, 1, 6. That means first row 4th column queen 1, second row 7th column queen 2, third row 3rd column queen 3. Like that we have to interpret the answer, and this is actually a recursive algorithm for n queens. Okay, this is actually the recursive algorithm, and that algorithm recursively enumerates all complete n queen solutions that are consistent with the given partial solutions. Okay, the backtracking algorithm simply performs a depth first traversal of that particular tree. And here another simple problem. Okay, 8 queens can be reduced to 4 queens problem. Okay, let us see how backtracking works on the 4 queens problem. We start with the root node as the only live node. This becomes the E node. That means we will generate one child, and let us consume that children are generated in ascending order. Then you can see which is going to be E node, which is going to be the dead node, then what is going to be the answer. You can see here, start with 1, you cannot place here or here, you will place it here. Then the third one, where you can place here, you cannot place here, you cannot place here and here, and third one you cannot place anywhere, therefore you have to backtrack, change the position of 2, where to move, you are moving it to here. Then 3 you can place it here. Then the final one 4, where you can place, you cannot place any of this position, therefore you have to backtrack. This already this backtracking will lead to this one, this will lead to this, and we are moving the positions. And again we will try 2 here, then we will try, we can place 3 here, then 4 we got a position here, then we are getting the final answer. Okay, this is how we are backtracking and generating the entire solution space. This is actually the tree, the portion of the tree generated during the backtrack, and here and all you are getting dead end, and the dead end won't be explored. And the solutions, you can see the solution, it is actually 1 2 3 4 is the solution. X1 is equal to 1, x2 equal to 1 2 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 is going to be the solution. Okay, and here you can see 1, these are the 4 possible positions for placing the first queen on the first row. If you place it here, you can place it here, then from there you cannot place third one anywhere here, and this is now a dead end. And if you are placing it here, you can place the third one here, this option, that is also a dead end. The fourth queen you can never place anywhere here. And if you are taking this and you are placing it here, you are getting a solution. And the reverse, this mirror image, this will also lead to a solution. And all other cases won't lead to a solution, they are actually the dead end. And this is the entire complete recursion tree. This is the entire solution space. Sometimes the question, it will be mentioned that draw or write the entire solution space. Then you have to draw the solution space for the 4 queens problem like this. Okay, it is very easy. And what is actually backtracking? From here you backtrack, you are trying the alternative and you are trying all other alternative, and this one will give you the entire set of solutions. And this is the informal algorithm. Okay, this is easy to remember and write. Start from the first column, check row by row and place a queen. Move on to the next column and place the next queen, and check if the placement of the queen is safe. How will you check? You have to check whether it give you row conflict, column conflict or diagonal conflict. If the placement of the queen is safe, check if all the queens are placed. Yes, then print the places of the queen as a solution. Else remove the last queen that is placed. You have to remove it, then backtrack to the previous partial solution and start exploring a new solution. And if you cannot find any solution after exploring all possibilities, then report an error. Okay, this will give you the informal algorithm for backtracking. And these are actually the formal algorithm. This is the algorithm queen, and this is actually this promising function. Okay, this is actually the promising function. Promising means this will give you no conflict. Okay, and the algorithm will be called with placing a queen, ith queen. And if the position is, if the placement, the chosen position is promising, then, and if I equal to n, that means like this. So start from the first column, check row by row, place a queen, move on to the next column, place the next queen, check if the placement of the queen is safe. If it is safe, then you have to check if all the queens have been placed. If it is safe, then check all the queens have been placed, then print the column positions. Otherwise, if it is not promising, then for j equal to 1 to n, you have to move to the next position. Okay, column I plus 1 equal to j, that is the next one. Then q, you have to take the next one, q I plus 1. This is a recursive algorithm. And for this, promising function is very simple. Flag will be initially true, then you are checking whether there is a column conflict or there is a diagonal conflict using this formula, and if any of the conflict is there, then flag is set as false, then return the flag. And if it is false, then else part will be else part will be executed. If it is true, you can place it and you can take the next queue and you will move through that. And the complexity analysis will be, it is actually, you see how many iterations, 1 plus n square plus nq plus n raised to n possibilities. That is actually n raised to n plus 1 minus 1 divided by n minus 1. And this is very pretty lengthy algorithm. And for 8 queens, there are 19, 173, 961 nodes for the solution tree. Therefore, you cannot draw the complete solution tree, and the illustration is always feasible, simple with 4 queens problem. And I also hope that they may ask 4 queens problem for the university examination and see the algorithms. And here there is a spelling mistake, it is false, not false. Okay, this is actually the flag value, and that flag will be actually returned to the calling function. Okay, thank you.